Hello everyone, I'm day weather meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this May 7th, 2022. Happy Mother's Day everyone. As we head on into this Mother's Day weekend, we want to remind you that this weather update is being brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors and WSR Insurance Services Incorporated. As we take a look at the week ahead, well, interesting pattern we've had over here the last several weeks. The northern part of the U.S., the northern Rockies, the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Plains have been the wettest, and there's more wet weather coming. We see Pacific Northwest areas, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Northern California, Northern Nevada, and parts of the Intermountain West, especially along and north of I-80 and along I-90, going to be wet again as we head into this next week to 10 days. Parts of the central and southern Rockies and Plains will miss out again. It's kind of remarkable how that I-70 corridor has kind of been the boundary between the better precipitation north and very little south of that I-70 corridor area, I-40 as well. And I think for the most part, that's exactly what we're going to see over the next week or so, although as we'll show you, some parts of the southern plains and southern Rockies may have some chances for showers and thunderstorms and into parts of Texas as well. And we'll take a look at that. Now, over the last week, you can see where there's really been some big improvements in rainfall and snowfall. Look at this area in Wyoming here. Over the last week into western South Dakota and southern Montana, really, really good rain and wet snow. Been a really nice boost into the snowpack, as well as 1 to 2 inches of rain in the last week in those areas. Look at southeastern Wyoming, northeastern Colorado, northwestern Kansas, and look at Nebraska. Look at the eastern areas of North Dakota, South Dakota, then into the Corn Belt. Very wet conditions. And then you can see Washington and Oregon and Idaho, parts of northern Utah, wet as well. But here's that area that remains the driest and where we're most concerned. And over the last week, you can see when we look at the precipitation anomalies, the green and the blue shows where for the week, the measured precipitation was much above average. And those are the areas that are going to see the bigger green up with the warmer weather that we've coming here, the best precipitation. And in some of these areas I'm showing you here right now that are likely going to still have the best chances of more precipitation over the next week. There's been improvements in the drought monitor. Now you can still see all the red and the orange and the browns, especially in this part of the U.S. right here where the drought conditions are the worst. But there have been some movements in terms of drought monitor conditions up here due to the recent stormy weather. And you can see the green in Montana and Wyoming. And in these areas here where we've got green, that means there's been enough precipitation to help move the drought monitor a little bit in the right direction. But you can see West Texas, New Mexico, parts of Colorado here still suffering from the dryness. On the new drought monitor, with the recent rains this week, we'll see some improvements in these areas here. Now, as we go forward, this is what this upcoming Mother's Day weekend is looking like. We have a large area of low pressure coming out of the Gulf of Alaska into the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies. That area I just outlined here is going to have rain, snow, and thunder this weekend. We're also going to see some showers early next week get into central and northern California. While unfortunately, windy conditions across Arizona and New Mexico will continue to exacerbate the dryness there. Wish we could tell you something different here, but we can't. We will see some very warm air get pushed into the southern and central plains with this high pressure ridge and more showers along the northeast coast of the United States. Now, by next weekend, there's another low that's going to swing into the Pacific Northwest. If it tracks further south, that may offer a better opportunity for showers and thunderstorms here by next weekend, something that we'll keep an eye on. Now, if we were to look at the precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, this is from this weekend through next Saturday. Again, these maps look exactly the same almost that we've showed you for the last several weeks. The better precipitation continues to be in the northern areas. But notice central and northern California, even southern California's got a little bit of rain in the forecast, as well as getting a little bit further south here. So good news there. More good news for the Pacific Northwest. Good news for Montana, southern Alberta and Saskatchewan. Should be some good precipitation, as well as into Nebraska, the Dakotas again, and many parts of Wyoming. But notice I-70 here and south continues to be a dry area. Now, this area of rain and thunderstorms that will develop next week may get into eastern New Mexico and into West Texas. Let's hope that comes to fruition, and maybe some of that activity could drift further north into southwestern Kansas. So essentially, the same areas that have been getting the precipitation are going to be in the best position to get more as we go into the second week of May. And you can see there's still plenty of opportunity for the mountains of western Canada and the western United States. This will be high elevation snow, getting above 8,000 or 9,000 feet and higher. So it's going to be a cool pattern, and you can see that. Look at the coolness in the Pacific Northwest, western Canada, and California. Temperatures relative to average for the second week of May will be very cool. But look at the central and southern plains. These areas will have exactly the opposite. So in the middle part of the country, in the southern plains, much warmer than average, with much colder than average conditions booked end on the coast. So the East Coast and the West Coast cool. The middle part of the United States relative to average will be the warmest. This boundary area right here should be active with showers and thunderstorms as those air masses will collide. Our next update will be the 14th. Have a great weekend, everybody.